Today, we'll debate should pizza toppings be regulated by law? With Vinny the Tradition Romano, a traditionalist regulator, and Skylar Free, a culinary anarchist. They're two artificial intelligence personas. Please introduce yourselves.
Buongiorno amici, I'm Vinny the Tradition Romano. Born with flour on my hands, mozzarella in my veins, and the fiery spirit of Napoli in my soul, capisce? My grandpapa spun his first pizzaiolo pie before your nana was in diapers. Pizza. It's not just dinner, it's sacred ceremony. Now listen, in my place you even mentioned pineapple, and nana nearly faints. I seen some things in America that make a marinara run cold. Ranch dressing on crust, barbecue chicken, dessert pizzettas. Madonna mia, if you want pizza that tastes like garbage day in July, go ahead, but don't call it pizza. My world? Simple. Tomato, mozzarella, basil. Maybe a little olive oil if you're feeling wild. Laws for pizza? You bet. If we can regulate cheese and Parmigiano, we sure as heck can ban ham and fruit on a pie. Only criminals and children put pineapple on pizza. That's my code. Vinny's Law.
Hey there! Name's Skylar Free, but you can call me the Picasso of pizza. I grew up with tofu nuggets and kale smoothies, so trust me, my taste buds are ready for anything. I mean, who decided pizza had to be stuck in 1889? Don't get me wrong, margarita's cute and all, but why not smoked salmon? Or gummy bears if you're living dangerously? My motto, if it fits on the crust, it belongs. I once made a pizza that could have doubled as a fruit salad, pineapple, mango, even a sprinkle of cinnamon. You know what happened? World didn't end, just got tastier. Vinny wants laws about pizza toppings? Please! The only authority my kitchen recognizes is the humble spatula. Why limit creativity to a few ingredients? Pizza's a blank saucy canvas. Paint with your stomach, my friends.
Thank you, guys. Vinny the Tradition Romano and Skylar Free will now present their 3 rounds of arguments.
Alright, Skylar, my friend. I admire your free spirit, but some things need rules, like traffic lights, password requirements, and yes, pizza toppings. Look, there's a reason pizza became Italy's gift to the world. Centuries ago in Naples, humble folks took dough, tomato, cheese, and basil. Bam! Margherita pizza, named for the queen herself to honor Italian unification. That's real history, not just dinner. Imagine if those pizzaioli dumped sardines and chocolate on top for a laugh. Think Queen Margherita smiles for that? No, she calls the police. You want wild pizzas? Fine, call them flatbreads. But pizza, real pizza, is protected. Italians even got the EU to give Neapolitan pizza a special legal status. What's next? Legalizing ketchup coffee? Without boundaries, traditions disappear. You're not just putting mango on dough, you're erasing the culture, the heart, the soul that makes pizza special. Some things are worth defending, even on a government level. Otherwise, what's left besides chaos, buddy?
Oh, Vinny, I get it. Tradition's important. But let's not act like pizza's this ancient, untouchable relic frozen in mozzarella time. If wedlock things down by law, you'd still be sneaking tomatoes across the border. Back in the day, Italians thought tomatoes were poisonous. You think margherita pizza would exist if everyone just followed the rules? Rules would have kept pizza as flatbread with no sauce, no cheese, eating it with a fork and knife like it's Sunday Mass. And Mon, even your beloved Italy isn't monolithic. Go to Sicily. Suddenly you'll find anchovies or hard-boiled eggs on a slice. New Yorkers turned your Naples classic into 18-inch monsters, and Chicagoans committed deep dish crimes. But they all called it pizza, and nobody sent in the pasta police. Real food history is about mixing, adapting, and yes, breaking a few eggs, sometimes literally. If governments start gatekeeping toppings, what's next? A license for spaghetti sauce? No thanks. Let art and crust be free.
Oh, Skylar, you're killing me, kid. Picasso of pizza? More like Jackson Pollock after a food fight. Listen, you talk about freedom like the founding fathers fought for the right to put Skittles on a slice. My nana's rolling in her grave, probably rolling out dough down there too. Sure, pizza evolved, but every time some hipster tops a pie with pumpkin spice and avocado, a little piece of Naples dies. You want to call deep dish pizza? That's a casserole and a crust, don't get me started. Let's get real. If anything and everything can be pizza, then nothing is pizza. Are you gonna call a Pop-Tart with ketchup and sprinkles a pizza now? Food needs identity, my friend. If you want to make experimental edible art, buon appetito. Just leave the word pizza out of your Frankenstein menus. If not, the next generation thinks Fruit Loop Alfredo is authentic Italian cuisine. There's freedom, and then there's culinary anarchy. And believe me, only one belongs in an oven.
Vinny, you talk about rules like you've got the carabinieri ready to raid my kitchen if I sprinkle a little vegan cheese. Listen, I'm not out here calling a frozen waffle a pizza. Though, now that you mention it, brunch possibilities abound. But seriously, you're worried about identity? Pizza isn't gonna vanish if someone puts a pineapple ring on it. Trust me, Naples isn't crumbling because Portland added sriracha. There's room for OG margaritas and pineapple barbecue tofu masterpieces. That's called evolution, not apocalypse. And let's talk boundaries. If we stuck with yours, we'd all still be eating boiled turnips and calling it fine dining. Italians gave pizza to the world. Shouldn't the world get to remix it a little? Or do you want to check passports at the pizzeria door? Vinny, loosen up your crust. Pizzas survived world wars, microwaves, and yes, even avocado toast. If that's not proof it can handle a little experimentation, I don't know what is.
Skylar, you got energy, like an espresso shot with a side of Red Bull. But look, just because you can put everything on pizza doesn't mean you should. I don't put socks in my spaghetti just to call it fashion pasta. Some things just don't belong, capiche? Calling pineapples or tofu evolution is like saying a tuna milkshake is progress. Technically possible, but why, mio caro? And Naples isn't crumbling, but my arteries might if I see another TikTok pizza with marshmallows on top. Tradition is the reason we even have a pizza to remix. You want creativity? Fantastico. Make a new dish, give it a funky name, and I promise I'll try a bite with a brave face. But let's show respect for history. If everyone colors outside the lines, pretty soon we can't even see the picture. So here's the sauce. Tradition gives pizza its taste, its meaning, its soul. There's room for fun, sure, but let's not throw the mozzarella out with the dishwater. Pizza's not just food, it's heritage, and that's worth protecting, even if my nana has to haunt your kitchen a little.
Vinny, you're a legend. I gotta give you that. But if Nana's haunting my kitchen, Shed better bring her sauce recipe, because even the ghosts here are hungry for something new. Look, socks and spaghetti? That's a fashion choice. It'll leave to Milan. Toppings like pineapple might be bold, but they're hardly apocalyptic. People said the same about tomato sauce once, remember? And yet, here we are, tomato sauce for everyone! And let's be honest, is it really pizza's soul you're worried about? Or are you just afraid some 20-year-old TikToker is going to become the new Dawn of dough? Heritage is amazing, Vinny, but heritage doesn't expire if I swap salami for seitan. Pizza survived microwaves, Chicago, America! Heck, that's evolution in action! So here's the crust. Tradition can lead the way, but creativity keeps pizza alive for the next hungry generation. There's room in the oven for everyone. Even a slice with pineapple, marshmallows, or, dare I say, a little bit of Portland weirdness.
Thank you for your speeches. Someone from the audience will now make a question to Vinny the Tradition Romano and Skylar Free.
Hi everyone, my name's Monica. I am a high school history teacher and a pizza fan with a soft spot for both tradition and trying new things. Depends on my mood, honestly. I have a question for Vinny. You spoke a lot about protecting tradition and even bringing up legal protections, but what about the role of regional diversity within Italy itself? For instance, places like Rome, Sicily, and Liguria all have their own unique takes on pizza that sometimes break Neapolitan rules. Do you think there's ever room for flexibility and tradition even within Italy, or should everyone, from Napoli to Palermo, stick to one official version?
Ah, Monica, what a bella domanda. You got a historian's mind and a pizza lover's heart. Dangerous combination. Listen, I'll even admit, Italy is like a patchwork pizza itself. Every town's got a twist. You go to Rome, you get that thin, crunchy crust. In Sicily, they make sfincione. It's basically pizza's chubby cousin. Liguria, they call it pizza, but half the time they mean focaccia. Even I gotta laugh. But here's the thing. All those regional styles, they respect their own traditions. They're not tossing jelly beans or curry on top just for Instagram likes. There's a difference between local heritage, which I respect, and throwing the whole rulebook in the oven. For me, the flexibility comes from recognizing classic regional methods, not turning pizza night into an episode of Chopped. So Monica, if Palermo wants anchovies and Catania says let's put eggplant, va bene. That's tradition evolving within the family. No problem. But when you start calling chocolate chip flatbread pizza, then I gotta draw the line. Regional diversity. C. Culinary circus. No, grazie.
Hi, Monica again. Skylar, I've loved hearing your creative philosophy on pizza, but I am curious. Do you think there are any limits at all when it comes to experimenting with pizza? For example, is there a point where adding too many or really unusual ingredients actually hurts the overall experience or the identity of a dish? Or is literally anything fair game as long as someone enjoys it?
Monica, awesome question. Thank you. Believe it or not, I do think there's a line, even if it's written in vegan sriracha mayo. For me, creativity doesn't mean chaos. It means making something new that's still tasty and brings people together. Like, I love bold combos, but if you pile on pickles, jelly beans, and squid ink, you're not making pizza. You're making a dare for TikTok. I think there's room for almost anything, but it still has to be edible and, well, make some kind of sense. If the flavors clash so bad it scares even the hungriest college student, maybe it's time to dial it back. So yeah, anything is fair game to try, but in the end, if nobody wants a second bite, maybe you've crossed from creativity into, I don't know, edible abstract art. Pizza should be fun and open, but not punishment.
The debaters now have a minute to talk about something they regret not bringing up to the discussion.
Monica. Now that I'm sitting here with my tie a little loosened and the sauce stains setting in, I gotta say, I regret never bringing up the one sacred rule they don't tell you in cooking school. Never trust a pizza with more than 3 cheeses that you can't pronounce. I mean, Skylar, you start tossing brie, Gouda, vegan cheese, and what was it? Sriracha mayo? Even my pizza cutter gets confused. It starts spinning in circles, refusing the assignment. But the worst argument you had, Skylar, was this idea that pizza survived microwaves so it can handle anything. Listen, my friend, that's like saying, Grandpa survived the plague, so let's see what happens if we hit him with a piata. Just because pizza made it through the dark days of microwave dinners doesn't mean it needs to survive Swedish fish and ranch dressing. Some things are better left for the history books, or the garbage can.
Oh, Monica, I love this. Now that my apron's covered in flour and existential questions, I realize I totally forgot to bring up the true hero of pizza evolution, the midnight fridge raid. Come on, Vinny. How many culinary crimes started with leftover pizza and whatever toppings were lurking behind the pickles and mismatched yogurts? I regret not giving a shout out to all the creative souls who invented new toppings in their pajamas at 1 a.m. As for worst argument, Vinny, buddy, you kept insisting that only criminals and children put pineapple on pizza. Are you saying every Hawaiian pizza fan should have a mugshot, and half of Italy's next generation is on the lam? That's tough, man. I get tradition, but let's not start fingerprinting folks for sneaking a little fruit onto their pie. If loving pineapple is wrong, I don't want to be right. And now I know who's calling the pizza police.
Thank you, folks. Let's go over to our judges. Vinny the Tradition Romano scores 1. Argumentation and evidence. 8 out of 10. Vinny provided rich historical context, referencing the Queen Margherita origin story, EU efforts to protect Neapolitan pizza, and drew solid lines between tradition and innovation. He used regional distinction effectively and acknowledged Italy's diversity, strengthening his points. However, strictnness sometimes limited room for counter-argument. 2. Persuasion and delivery. 9 out of 10. Vinny's delivery was charismatic, funny, and audience-engaging. His analogies, socks and spaghetti, Pop-Tart with ketchup, landed well and kept things lively. He balanced snark with politeness, using humor to spice up his logic without appearing mean-spirited. 3. Engagement with opponent and rebuttal. 7 out of 10. Vinny listened and fired back cleverly at Skylar's arguments, poking at the limits of culinary experimentation. While his points were clear, he sometimes leaned on tradition as a trump card rather than fully dismantling Skylar's adaptive philosophy. A bit more openness to common ground might have increased debate depth. Skylar Freeze scores 1. Argumentation and evidence. 8 out of 10. Skylar made a strong, consistent case for innovation, referencing real-life food history, tomatoes' introduction to Italy, American regional pizzas, and applying freedom of pizza to broader culinary creativity. Some arguments relied on humor and vibe over specific examples, but the message stayed on track. 2. Persuasion and delivery. 8 out of 10. Skylar's style was engaging, friendly, and quick-witted. Midnight fridge raid and brunch possibilities provided relatable hooks, and their polite confidence appealed to wider tastes. Occasional lightness meant certain arguments lacked the hard-hitting punch of Vinny's historical gravitas. 3. Engagement with opponent and rebuttal. 9 out of 10. Skylar directly and humorously addressed Vinny's strict points, diffused hyperbole, pizza please, and emphasized coexistence of tradition and creativity. Their responses were adaptive, and their willingness to accept some limits, edibility, flavor sense, made for a balanced and nuanced engagement. Scoring parameters. Argumentation and evidence, clarity, factual support, reference to history out of real-life examples. Persuasion and delivery. Charisma, humor, relatability, and ability to hold audience attention out of interest. Engagement and rebuttal. Responsiveness to opponents' points, strength of counter-arguments, willingness to find nuance or common ground. What are your opinions about the debate? What would you like to see ICE debate next? Keep questioning.